This is an ABP Live Podcast.
Hello guys, welcome to Ladies First on ABP Live Podcasts. I'm your host Niharika Nanda. This is an award-winning podcast where we talk to women in the industry from the 21st century who are navigating life, home and their journeys all together and acing it one by one. And today one such woman who we have today with us is Dr. Kriti. Hello Doctor, welcome to Ladies First.
Thank you so much.
It is all my pleasure to have you here. You've been working to provide Indians with modern, accessible and everyday Ayurveda. That is great because in today's time of Western medicine, इतना ज़्यादा उसकी prevalence बढ़ चुकी है that Indian medicine, that is Ayurveda, जो हमारे अपने roots हैं, उसको कहीं ना कहीं हम lose करते जा रहे हैं. And in today's time, it's nice to have people like you who are working consistently to get that more to the surface. So, पहले तो let's start from the basics. How are you? What is up?
So all good. I guess several years earlier when I was reading and I was completing my education, I realized that like you said that we are forgetting our roots. There are so many things out there in our kitchens that are really underrated, that we don't understand have potential of doing so much. So this is something that I have been talking to a lot of people over last few years, and telling them the rational usage of those ingredients. Because what happens is that with medicines, with allopathic medicines, we talk a lot about dosages and regimes. But we take these ingredients very, very granted. And COVID has really taught us a lot of things like that.
Right.
So I would say that, with that mission in mind, that, making healthcare through Ayurveda simpler for the people to adapt and use it in a convenient manner is something that I'm trying to achieve.
Right, absolutely. Can you tell us a little about Ayurveda medicine, like the basics?
Yeah, so see, the Ayurvedic medicine as we understand today is is a knowledge that has been there in our Indian system of scriptures for a very, very long time. If you look at the scriptures, there is a way of using it.
Right.
So Ayurveda is not just using the herbal entities, but also how to use them, in what dosages to use them, because excess of everything is bad. We should always be, cognizant of that fact. So it talks a lot about the way of life, that how we should live. Therefore, what happens is that our habits have changed drastically because of our working schedules and stuff. And that is the reason of a lot of lifestyle disorders that have come up. When I talk to a lot of consumers and a lot of people around me, I understand that women today are facing so many challenges in terms of PCOS, hormone imbalance, which is basically attributed to the lifestyle. So these are some of the diseases which were not there a few years back, but the occurrences and instances have increased a lot now. Hypothyroidism is growing at a very fast pace. Diabetes has become such a prevalent problem these days. So, we really need to think that what we are doing wrong as individuals, and what is something that can be done to, curb it or improvise our health standards. Although there is a lot of fitness things that have come up thanks to social media, Instagram, that people are becoming aware. But that also, is a flood of information, and you have to pick the right information from that.
And also coming from the right source.
Exactly.
Because anyone can today become a health guru and publish and post anything that there is.
True.
But you need to see that it's actually coming from a medical professional or someone who is really, established enough to actually give you any health related advice.
True. And, Ayurveda really gives us, I would say, assurance that this information, this knowledge is existing in our scriptures. And the way we use it in the current times becomes very, very important.
Absolutely.
Because, the environment, the condition of soil, the climate that was there when these scriptures were written was very, very different from today. So we really need to, scientifically prove that this is same as what has been reported.
And this is relevant even today.
Yes.
Right. So basically Ayurveda it also reflects a way of lifestyle. It's not just a medicine to cure a problem, but it sort of cuts it out on the root.
Yes.
Right.
True.
Okay. And talking a little more about Ayurveda, there are a lot of questions that people have. Some say that Ayurveda works on a long-term basis, that it affects and treats problems that might come in the future. Some say that it's a very slow format of, curing or treating something. So what are your thoughts on that?
So again, like I said that even medicines, the allopathic medicines also take time. It's
Right.
just that we feel that it is curing some symptom. So similar kind of strategies exist in Ayurveda. So let's not forget that a lot of anti-cancer medicines have come from plants.
Right.
So we know taxanes and a lot of other medicines which originally have come from plants, but in order to meet the population requirements and meet the standards of the characterization and consistency of the ingredient, we have gone to the synthetic methods of making
Right,
them.
right.
But originally they have come from plants. So, and still we have so many plants sitting out there.
Right.
We always hear about Sanjeevani Booty in, in
Ramayana.
Ramayana. But
Right.
we all know that these herbs do exist, and
Right.
at different altitudes they have different kinds of potencies. Let's not forget we have Shilajit, we have Ashwagandha, Giloe, that I think every household has heard
Right.
about.
I think Giloe got so famous during COVID.
COVID, yeah.
Because it boosts immunity.
Yes, yes.
Right.
And the only problem with that particular incident was that people were not using the right source. And they were, anything growing in the wild, they were picking up
Right.
and then they were boiling it, having decoctions and kadas, which resulted in a lot of problems also.
Absolutely.
So this was something that I used to do during COVID times a lot. I still remember there was an instance where a person had, the nails had become yellow, the eyes had become yellow.
Oh my
So
goodness.
the first thing that the medical community will think looking at such symptoms
Jaundice.
is that jaundice.
Right.
But when we did all the blood workup and found what's the reason, we found that it was excess usage of curcumin. Because they've been
Okay.
taking kadhas so much that it got
Arre
accumulated in
baapre.
the body. So again, the irrational use is really, really harmful, and
Right.
one needs to know that how to use it, when to use it. So again, it's not slow. It can work magic if used rationally and in a
Right,
proper way,
right.
proper vehicle, proper dosage. But it's just that it will work in such a way that it will treat a lot of other things in the body.
Not just the specific thing that we are trying to cure.
Exactly, because what happens is we have to really understand that a synthetic molecule is a single molecule, whereas herbs are a combination of hundreds of molecules.
True.
So they will correct a lot of things in your body. For example, if we talk about ginger, for example, so ginger is known for digestive system. It is known for your inflammation in the body. It's very good for joint pains. So there are multiple things that ginger works on, because ginger is a combination of thousands of phytoactives,
Right,
not just
right.
one ingredient.
So अगर वो कोल्ड ठीक करेगा तो वो उसका तज़ार चीज़ आपकी बॉडी में और ठीक
और भी
करेगा.
ठीक करेगा.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So, as a woman, as a doctor, what is your idea on the concept that what we see in India is that हम लोग एक change इस time पे देख रहे हैं. We are seeing that women are entrepreneurs, women are doctors, women are doing everything, but they are still stuck in that cycle कि उनको घर से जाने से पहले खाना बनाना है, उन्हें घर जाके खाना बनाना है, उन्हें घर भी मैनेज करना है, उन्हें बच्चे भी मैनेज करने हैं, उन्हें काम भी मैनेज करना है. We are not, still in a balance वाला situation that, of a co-parenting space, of a co-creating home kind of feeling.
Yeah.
So what is your idea on that?
So I truly respect the fact that women are multitaskers. So I have been working and I've been seeing my colleagues. I have seen that by default I end up hiring a lot of women in my team all the time.
That's a good default to have.
Yeah. So then I am always questioning. I don't know why I did that time and again. So it's like, because when I talk to people while interviewing, or when I meet my colleagues, I always find that when I throw situations in them, women always have a better answer. And because the logic works like that.
Right.
The brain is designed like that. And
They always have a answer for any question and a solution to any problem.
Yes.
Right.
Which sometimes, I'm not saying that it is a gender thing or I'm biased towards a gender, but somehow, they always, the brain is wired in such a way that they will be able to navigate.
Right.
And they are able to manage hundreds of things together. Like, I have women in my team who will, complete their household work, reach office on time, complete everything on time, and then leave on time because they have to manage their kids. So which is commendable. They
Right.
are, and I believe that that is something that over a period of time they become very, very habituated in doing. Of course, there are needs that family has, and multiple things that one has to manage. But I guess that as individuals, as people who are working in such an environment where we have a mix of both the genders and everybody working together, it's very important that we respect each other's responsibilities,
Right,
and make
right.
them and equip them, or maybe we can say empower them to balance both the things together.
Absolutely. And just because they are doing it well and they can handle it well doesn't mean that they don't need help.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So it's very important that you ask them whether they need help or not, because and I really feel that if you extend that hand of help, that really heightens your respect in terms of being
A partner or a friend, or
Exactly.
whichever way that
Yes.
in whichever capacity you are
True.
providing that help.
Yeah.
And how do you manage your work-life balance?
So I again, like I try to tick my things very, very, in a very timely manner. I plan my day very well. So it's always like I have a to-do list in the beginning, and if it is like I've completed my tasks of the day, I'll see whatever needs to be planned for the next day. So again, very, very methodical approach, and so that family also has time, and they are also aware of my commitments that
Right.
okay, I have to complete this.
Right.
So I think there is a mutual respect at both the ends, that a person is workaholic or has to do these many things, because you can't function without family support.
Right.
So it's very important that you make them
That
understand.
is very, very important.
Yes.
That's integral to
Yes.
having a career and having a life beyond your career as well.
True.
Because these days we are also seeing another change. I recently read this on Instagram that people are, very irked by the way that Gen Zs work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Gen Zs are actually creating a mindset that your work is just a part of your life and not your life.
Yes.
So that was something that really stuck with me, and I was like, that makes sense, because we have been conditioned to put so much of ourselves into our professional lives that we
Yeah.
forget that there is a life beyond that as
True.
well.
True. I agree. Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Okay, so I understand that there are certain discriminations that go on in your career as a doctor as well. बहुत लोग अभी भी इस mindset से चलते हैं कि नहीं, एक male doctor होगा तो शायद better रहेगा. Have you ever faced something like that, and or someone that you know might have faced it?
So
I hope not though.
Yeah. So on the contrary, I would say that there is a very there is an incident that happened when I was talking to a consumer. She happened to be a lady,
Right.
and she was having some psychological issue with her weight and her health issues. So I was talking to her, and she specifically told me that, do you have any men around you?
Okay.
So because it was a phone call and it was on a speaker. So I actually asked everybody in the room to get out of the room. And I was like, I will speak to her. Even if, she could not have known that anybody is sitting in the room.
Right.
But I had to respect that feeling. So I would say that there are instances where people like to have, maybe because they feel that, they might get a better support from men. But most of the times I feel that kind of a situation or that kind of an understanding has gotten into the society that women are more empathetic. So
that is true.
even men open up better to women. I've seen that they will be able to share their views and their ideas.
Right.
But yeah, there are some situations, of course, because I deal with a lot of sexual wellness issues as well. So there are times when they feel opening up to a male better than a woman.
Regarding whatever
Yeah.
problems that they're facing.
Right.
Again, depends on the comfort level also.
Yeah. But in terms of, I would say, the professional help, I believe it is really up to a person's own aura. So that is
Right.
also that, how well you handle the situation, or whether people are looking at you as a problem solver, or they feel I won't get any help from you. So that is, I think, very, very individualized.
Right. You mentioned that you also look into a lot of sexual health problems and
Yes.
issues. So, again, a very, a kind of a thing that has a lot of taboos around it. People
Yes.
don't come up, people don't talk about it. So, do you feel that as a practitioner, as a professional, do you feel that there is a change in that more people, and women especially, are opening up their sexual health now in these days?
Yes. So post-COVID, I think people have started talking much more about it, and there have been, and most of the things, like if you talk to them and understand what's going on, you will understand that this is mostly related to stress in the lifestyle.
Okay.
So that takes a toll of your health at some point or the other, and what happens is that hormones are something that get impacted the first. So that is why there are so many problems related to hormonal imbalances and things like PCOD, thyroid, which ultimately trigger towards a lot of other problems that people face.
Right.
So they have become very open because they need help.
Right.
Now I would say that, thanks to the social media or awareness, that people have started asking for help. They don't shy away now. Although there are some, stratas in the society that will still think that, okay, I'll go to the doctor in a private space and speak.
Right.
But, telemedicine and stuff, like where people can reach out to health practitioners on different platforms, that has really enabled them to talk freely about their problems and get help.
Right.
So that is something that I feel is a really good change.
Absolutely. And talking about you as a person, when you're not working, when घर का काम भी हो चुका है, सब हो चुका है, when you're free and you have your me time in your hands, what all do you like to do?
So I really like to shop, and I really like to upskill myself. So some shopping, listening to music is on my list at that time when I really have some time at my disposal. And apart from that, I would say upskilling myself, getting up to date with whatever is happening. Because it's very important to understand how the millennials or Gen Zs are thinking. Right. So I really talk to my cousins who are very young, and I understand from them, okay, what's going on. Because, it gives you that family time also, and you have something constructive to talk about, rather than talking about things like,
or gossiping.
Or gossiping. So that is, I would say that is also a part of your knowledge building. Okay,
Absolutely.
What's happening? What are their issues? Because there was, there's one thing that I always talk to people, like in my friends group, in my age groups, that when we were kids, we never had problems wherein we would open up to a therapist. I see this very, very open and loud about now, because students have, kids have access to these counselors at school. There are legit issues they have, and when I hear it, I'm like, we never talked about it.
Right. You never know that people in your generation actually might have had, even in mine, but mine still has a little more access.
Yeah.
I would say, and वो problems exist करती थी. It's just that they never surfaced.
Yes, never surfaced. And we used to talk among our friends, and we used to feel that, okay, these are our go-to people. But now they are much more aware, and I sometimes feel they are much more mature than what we were at that age.
Right.
So that is something that I really feel is happening, and which is a very good change as a society also.
Right.
So that is something that I really feel is.
And it's nice also. You also stay up to date and you stay relevant as a person.
Yes.
Otherwise, हम वही अपने खुद के ही thoughts में ही रह जाते हैं. But it's nice to actually expose yourself to new things, to new thoughts, to new people.
True.
Right. Okay. And some tips for our young doctors and upcoming medical professionals who are women that you would like to share with them.
Yeah, so I would like to say that, it's really important to keep upskilling yourself, be very, very aware of what's happening. I understand that we have spent a very good time reading about stuff, but it is very important that we translate that knowledge for the people who need it. So that is something that I really feel that, sometimes what happens is that we are very good at what we do. We are very good at in our careers, but we are not able to translate that for the people to get use from it, get benefit from it. So that is something that I feel is very important, and be empathetic to your people, the people around you. Everybody needs help in some way or the other. Even we as people, we need help with something. So you never know what kind of help you'll get from a person sitting across you.
Right.
So you have to be very open about it. You have to always change with the dynamics of the society, and of course manage your time well, give time to your family, prioritize your work and life accordingly, and balance it out. So that is something that I would really like to
share. So, ma'am, towards the end, I would like to ask you that as a practitioner of Ayurveda, and Ayurveda, as we mentioned in the beginning also, is the roots of medicine from India. What is your parting message for all the people out there who want to adopt Ayurveda but are not very well aware about it?
So what I would like to suggest is that, like I said, that we have so many X number of ingredients in our kitchen which are underrated. So it's very important that we know the right dosage, right sourcing, how to use it. Like, for example, we hear about cinnamon all the time. Cinnamon is a magic herb for your cholesterol problems.
Right.
But the way to use it is very important. So that kind of information, is very, very important in terms of the phytoactive principle, which cinnamon is good. So all that R&D is something that, we as scientists are doing all the time to quantify those health outcomes and give a very, very, easy to use format to the consumers. So we understand that Gen Zs and millennials, what they have been exposed to is the way their mothers used to, tell them that this, if you have cold, you take honey and ginger and tulsi.
Adrak wali chai.
Adrak wali chai. So, but not like 7 cups of adrak wali chai.
Right.
So that kind of information, I think, is something that we are really working on, and quantifying all that, finding the right source of ingredients or herbs and making them into a very, very comfortable format, which is consistent.
Right.
So every time you go and take a swalene, every time you take an effervescent tablet, or you take shilajit, or you take honey, it has to meet the requirements.
Right.
It should not be having
just for the sake of it, taking it just for the sake of it कि कुछ नहीं है तब भी ले लो.
Exactly. So at Kapiva, our mission is to really make the cutting edge products for our consumers, to make them feel that their needs will be catered to even through this form of medicine, and they what they are having is high in terms of their quality, and it will deliver the health outcomes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Kriti, for joining me today. It was an honor talking to you.
Same
It was so great getting to know so much about Ayurveda and to find out your thoughts and opinions on women empowerment and the way that women at this point can empower themselves and others as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me today on Ladies First.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot. Keep listening to Ladies First on ABP Live Podcasts.